Hello, viewers. Welcome to today's episode of our mathematics storytelling video. My name is Dr. Chike Obede Meribe. You are welcome to this edition of our mathematics storytelling. Today, we shall be looking at some definitions of mathematical subjects. We will be starting with numbers and number theory. By simple definition, numbers and number theory is a mathematical study of magnitudes of physical quantities or physical objects. So we have numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. These are mathematical representation of magnitudes of physical quantities. So when we study their properties, we say that we are studying number theory. Next is arithmetic. What is arithmetic? The term arithmetic can be defined as the mathematical study of the physical process of counting. So we have about four aspects of arithmetic. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We will be defining their meaning in terms of physical reality in our subsequent video. So we next is geometry. What is geometry? The term geometry can be defined as the motion of points in space and in subspaces. When points move in space and in subspaces, we say that we are studying geometry. It is the motion of points in space and that creates geometric objects such as triangles, rectangles, square, trapezium, and what have you. So the next is algebra. What is algebra? The term algebra can be defined as the mathematical study of of generalized arithmetic using alphabets and letters. When we generalize the study of arithmetic, we say we are studying algebra. For instance, in arithmetic, we have something, a mathematical expression such as 2 plus 3 equals 5, for instance. So, but in algebra, the equivalence could be x plus y equals a. So you can see whenever we replace numbers or we associate numbers with unknown variables, we talk about algebra. Again, algebra could be said to be the mathematical study of determining unknown quantities using known quantities. So in real life, whenever you are looking for a missing quantity using a known or given quantity, you can say that you are studying algebra. So when this type of real life scenario is expressed mathematically, we have algebraic expressions or algebraic equations. So next in our study is probability. What is probability? Probability simply means the mathematical study of chance events or events that happen by chance. The mathematical study of uncertainty is probability. So whenever we are studying things that we cannot actually determine ab initio, you know, we say we're studying. We use probability in mathematics to study such scenario. Next is statistics. What is statistics? In simple terms, the word statistics can be defined as a mathematical study of the deterministic aspect of a non-deterministic process. For example, in an election process is a non-deterministic process. But there are some aspects of such processes or such process that can be determined. So in the determination of such process, such aspect of a non-deterministic process is called statistics. For instance, in an election process, we can determine the average number of voters that turn out in a polling unit within a given period of time. So such averages are statistics. So I hope you could make sense of that. So next is trigonometry. What is trigonometry? You know, trigonometry can be defined as a mathematical study of the relationship between angles of a triangle and the ratio of length of sides of such triangles. The mathematical study of angles of a triangle, you know, with respect or as it relates to the ratio of the length of size of the le- of the length of sides of such triangle. For example, we have something like sine theta as opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent are designates for different lengths, are names for different lengths of sides of a triangle. So when we say sine theta, we associate it with the ratio of opposite over hypotenuse. When we say cos theta, we represent it with adjacent over hypotenuse. And when we say tan theta, like that, we have it as opposite over adjacent. So these are called the sine theta, cos theta, tan theta, and so on are called trigonometric functions. So we'll look deeper into that in our next video when we talk about their very physical meaning and what they represent. So now next is function. What is function? Mathematically speaking, function can be defined as a rule that governs the relationship between two or more variables, such that the input to the function is subjected or follows the rule of the function in order to produce a specific output or outcome. And I'll come again. Mathematically speaking, the term function can be defined as a rule which governs the relationship between two or more variables, such that the input variable to the function is processed following the rule of that function in order to produce the output variable of that same function, or output, as the case may be. For example, if we have, say, x equals ay, in this case now, x is the input variable, then y is the output variable. So when this input variable is subjected to a function, this is expression of a equals ay is a function. So when this input variable x is subjected to the function, we will have an output variable y. You know, so mathematically speaking, functions help us to determine the relationship or the rule governing the relationship between two variables. So next is matrices. What is a matrix? Matrices can be defined as the rectangular array or rectangular arrangement of mathematical objects. I want you to note here that we are intentional when we use the word mathematical objects, because there is a difference between mathematical objects and physical objects. So when we talk mathematics, we are talking mathematical objects, even though mathematical object is a representation of a physical object, like we stated earlier on. So now we talked about matrices. So as a rectangular arrangement of mathematical elements or mathematical objects. You know, so whenever you have maybe numbers arranged in rows and columns, usually matrices is usually arranged in rows and columns in order to form that rectangular array. So next in our definition is, determinant. What is a determinant? The word determinant is defined as a mathematical function which receives input in form of matrices and brings out output in form of a single number magnitude. I come again. Determinant in mathematics is defined as the mathematical function that receives input in form of matrices and brings out output in form of a single number magnitude. So next is calculus. What is calculus? The word calculus can be defined as the mathematical study of the motion of objects along a curved surface. The mathematical study of the motion of objects along a curved path or a curved surface. Put in other way, it can be said that calculus is the mathematical mathematical study of how objects change their position. Because when objects change position, motion is said to occur. The mathematical study of how objects change their position along a curved surface is called calculus. Calculus came about because of the problems associated with curved paths. You know, like when you want to determine the, the, the slope of a curved surface, it is a bit challenging more than when you want to determine the slope, or rate of change of motion of objects on a straight line. So we'll talk about that, in the future. Specifically, calculus is comprised two broad areas known as differential calculus and integral calculus. So we will not go into details of these two aspects in this video, but in our subsequent video, we'll treat them. So next in our definition is set. What is the set and what is a set theory? The term set is the mathematical study of arrangement of objects, this time mathematical objects, in no particular order. Set is the study or the mathematical study of arrangement of objects in no specific order. For instance, where you have numbers arranged in such a way, such as 2, 1, 4, 6, 10, 12, 11, and so on. This is a set of objects of numbers. So there is no specific order of this arrangement. So all the theories that govern the study of this type of arrangement of objects as well as their properties is called set theory. Next is sequence. What is a sequence? The term sequence is defined as a mathematical study of arrangement of objects in a given order. The mathematical study of arrangement of objects in a given order or following a given rule is called sequence. For instance, if we have a mathematical object of numbers arranged in this way 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, obviously you could see that there is a sequence in the arrangement of this number. This is a sequence because they are an array of even numbers. So in the same way, if we have an arrangement of numbers in such a way, like if we have so say 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on, you can see that this is a sequence, not just a set. It's a sequence because there is a rule governing the arrangement. So you could determine the next number by looking at the rule that governs the arrangement. So like 2, 3, 5, 7, next is 11 because it is a sequence of prime numbers, while the previous example is the sequence of even numbers. So next is surd. What is surd in mathematics? Surd is nothing other than the mathematical study of the square root of numbers other than square numbers. I'll come again. Surd is a mathematical study of the square of numbers other than square numbers. A square number is a number whose square root is a whole number. For example, root. Sorry, I don't mean when I will say what I mean there is square root, not square number. So let me come again. Surd is the mathematical study of the square root of numbers other than square numbers. Surd is the mathematical study of square root of numbers other than square numbers. Square numbers are numbers whose square roots are whole numbers. For example, 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 25 is another square number. The square root of 25 is 5. So such numbers whose square roots are whole numbers are not included in the mathematical study of surd. So examples of surd is root 2, root 3, root 5, root 6, root 7, and so on. These are numbers whose square roots are not whole numbers. So at this point, I want to believe that you have made sense of certain aspects of mathematics in such a way that you can now connect the meaning to real life. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and this video. So in our subsequent videos, we will take you further in our public engagement of math storytelling. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.